Because, I mean,
네.
listening to your life, it seems like
예.
although you had these ups and downs, like the
예.
struggles that you had while studying abroad and the passing of your husband, you said you were really grateful to have parents like yours. You were able to teach English at the English department. I was wondering if you have any like life motto or any values that you keep in mind?
네, 그냥 이런 어려운 시기를 극복하게 했던 것은 제가 저의 인생에서 이제 확실한 목표가 있었기 때문에 그게 이제 뭐 학자로서의 삶을 산다든가 문학도로서 산다든가 그런 일이 있었기 때문에 목표와 일이 있었기 때문에 그런 좌절의 시기에도 이렇게 흔들리지 않고 지탱할 수 있었던 것 같습니다. 그러니까 인생에서 확실한 목표를 가지는 것이 중요하다라고 볼 수 있겠죠.
Okay,
네.
so I
네.
guess that was like having a clear goal in life.
네,
That sort of
네.
acted as a compass and
예,
guide
예.
that walked you through all the
예,
struggles that you
예,
had,
예,
right?
예.
Okay, all right. So remember to have a clear goal that will help you to stay, I guess, strong despite all the struggles that you might come across through life. Okay, well, we'll continue the talk right after our program listening guide. Catch Culture Crunch on Arirang Radio every day at 11 a.m. Korea Standard Time. Tune in with the Arirang Radio app, which you can download from your app store or watch us on Arirang TV. If you're in the Jeju area, tune to 88.7 in Jeju City, 88.1 in Seogwipo City, or 101.9 in the Daejeong area. If you're in Busan, listen on BEFM 90.5, and in Kijang, Loksan, Cheongwan, tune in to 103.3. You can also join us live on YouTube. Just search Arirang Radio K-pop. Miss the show? Don't worry. You can catch the radio rerun every day at 2 a.m. KST. And don't forget, we've got our exclusive weekend episodes on Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. KST only on Arirang Radio. Send us your messages and song requests anytime through the Culture Crunch Send Messages board at arirangradio.com or email us at culturecruncharirang@gmail.com. Now let's keep crunching! Today on Creme de la Creme, we're joined by the president of LTI, Chun Soo-young, and we've taken a look at her life graph, which she drew for us. It's a little different from others' life graphs, which tended to be a little more curvy, but she still does have her two low points we just talked about earlier. Now, time really flew, you know. That was a really quick 50-minute or 1 hour, I should say. And we only have, I guess, less than 2 weeks left until the end of this year. So can you tell us what some of your goals are for 2026 or the institution's goal?
저 번역원의 계획하고 저 자신의 계획은 조금 다르기는 한데.
You can tell me both.
네,
simply.
그러니까 제가 취임한 후로 이렇게 강조했던 것이 그 번역가들을 계속 훈련을 해야 되니까 번역대학원 대학교를 추진해야 되겠다는 거 하나, 그거 하고 또 하나는 아까도 말씀드린 것 같은데 한국 문학을 좀 더 총체적으로 깊이 있게 세계 독자들에게 소개하는 그런 계획을 가지고 있었습니다. 그래서 현재 잘 팔리고 있는 작품들은 그냥 잘 팔리도록 보조를 하고 한편으로 저희의 고전, 근대문학, 현대문학 중에서 대표성을 가질 수 있는 그런 문학들을 계속해서 조금씩이라도 번역해 내야 된다는 생각을 했습니다. 그래서 그런 작업을 하고 있고 또 한편으로는 한국 문학에 대한 담론을 현지어로 생산을 해서 현지 사람들에게 알리는 것이 중요하다고 생각을 합니다. 우리가 영화를 봐도 뭐 이렇게 조금 리뷰를 보면서 도움을 받듯이 한국 문학에도 그런 이제 부추기는 장치가 필요하다고 생각해서 해외의 저술이라든가 뭐 논문이라든가 기사라든가 그런 것이 해외에서 출간될 수 있도록 저희가 현지어로 꼭 번역뿐만이 아니라 현지어로 직접 출간하는 것까지 보조를 지원을 하려고 있습니다. 이미 하고 있고요. 네.
Okay.
예.
All right. So, from the institutions level, the goal would be to proceed with establishing the graduate school for translation. And also, she wants to make sure that Korean literature is understood worldwide more comprehensively and in depth. And she hopes to, I guess, deliver the Korean literature discourse into different languages as well so that it could be shared, like she said, in more an in-depth and comprehensive way worldwide. Last but not least, what is Korean literature to you? What does it mean?
네, 그냥 한마디로 말한다면 신대륙이라고 하겠습니다. 왜냐하면 신대륙이라는 거는 항상 거기에 있었지만 세계 사람들이 그 경이로움에 대해서 알지 못하던 것을 새로이 알게 된 것이니까 한국 문학이 바로 그런 신대륙이 아닌가 생각합니다.
Okay, so
네.
you believe it's a new world or new continent. It was always there, but people worldwide only just started to see it or discover it very recently. Okay, well, thank you so much. I hope you had a great time.
네.
So can you please say goodbye to our listeners before we let you go?
네, 경청해 주셔서 감사합니다. 한국문학번역원의 활동에 대해서 앞으로도 많은 관심을 가져주시기 바랍니다. 네.
Okay.
네.
Thank you so much for being with us today. So she said, thank you so much for listening. And please do continue to show interest towards LTI. All right. So we'll be back again tomorrow for more culture to crunch on. And here is our last song, 아름다운 것 or Beautiful Thing by 언니네 이발관 Sisters Barbershop. Bye-bye. Keep crunching.
나라라 나라라 오예예 오예 나라다 오예 오예 그대의 익숙함이 항상 미쳐버릴 듯이 난 힘들어 당신은 내 귓가에 속에 내게 멈추지 않지만 하고 싶은 말이 없어질 때까지 난 기다려 그 어떤 말도 이제 우린 스쳐가 앞서가 나의 모습 뒤로 서 있어 언젠가 내가 먼저 너의 맘속에 들어가 하고 싶은 말이 없어지지 않을 거라 했지 그랬던 내가 이제 너를 잊어가 마치 아무 일도 아닌 것처럼 슬픔이 나를 데려가 나는 너를 보고 서 있어 그 어떤 말도 내 귓가에 이젠 머물지 않지만 하고 싶은 말이 없어질 때까지만이고 서로가 전부였던 그때로 돌아가 넌 믿지 않겠지만 사랑했다는 말 난 싫은데 아름다운 것을 버려야 하네 난 나를 지켰지 마치 아무 일도 아닌 것처럼 그동안 내 대신 어디에 놔버려둔지 사랑했었나요 사랑했나요 잊어버릴까
저희 제품은 배틀로프의 단점을 보완한 제품, 좀 더 간편하고 쉽게 이 고강도 트레이닝을 할 수 있는 방법이 무엇이 있을까 하고 이 저희 지로프를 개발하게 되었죠.
와, 그러면 배틀로프의 그 엑기스만 딱 뽑아가지고 이거를 개발한 거네요.
네, 맞습니다.
야,
Battle ropes, the secret training of the world's strongest America's Olympic athletes. A legendary ultimate full-body high-intensity workout. But wait, too much space needed, too heavy, and way too noisy. Let's bring those downsides down and level up the workout effect. Introducing ZSUPS Zero. Light, small, compact, and you can enjoy it anytime, anywhere. A 3-in-1 training tool that builds muscle, stamina, and endurance all at once. It delivers workout effects that surpass battle ropes. Trusted quality, made in Korea. Shh, stronger, smaller, and quieter.
The Korean wave is drawing more fans from all over the world. Local consumer prices continue to hover at the 2% success rate in April.
Turning to robots to allow the visually impaired the chance to better indulge in cultural experiences. Like the number of hybrid cars are registered in South Korea has surpassed 2 million with this locally developed Yuri rocket.
Arirang.
Introducing Korean broadcast content that you won't be able to stop watching. For weary modern souls, Dr. Romantic, the quirky genius doctor of Puldam Hospital, prescribes heartwarming tales of humanity. A couple together for 7 years sees their rose-tinted glasses shatter. Can they keep their relationship alive? Discover the raw stories of youth, work, and love. Beyond what social media can show, experience the vibrant Korea through its hidden gems. Mama, the ultimate K-pop festival for global fans. Find your star in a feast of trendy music and electrifying performances. Now, the whole world enjoys it together.
Knock knock! The magical door to the world of K-animation is swinging wide open. Meet your instant new BFF, the adorable Catch. Tina Ping will have you hooked from the very first glance. Need a hand? Our Robocar Poli Rescue team is always zooming in to save the day. How about tagging along on Pinkfong and Pal's super exciting quest to reclaim their lost magic? With the mysterious life forms Kebion by your side, you can become a Kebion master and save humanity like the total hero. Protecting children's innocence while igniting their boundless imaginations. That's the magic of Korean animation. K-animation, the ultimate bestie for kids worldwide.
U.S. President Donald Trump delivered a rare evening address to the American public and addressed affordability issues, boasting that prices had fallen under his tenure. He also insisted that his tariffs are working and that they will deliver more benefits soon. The U.S. Senate approved the annual defense policy bill for the next fiscal year, which includes a key provision that bars the use of defense funds to reduce U.S. troops in South Korea below the current level. National Security Advisor Ri Sung-nak is in Washington for talks with U.S. officials on the recently unveiled joint fact sheet, outlining key details of trade and security agreements between the two countries. The two sides are expected to have discussed civil uranium enrichment and the reprocessing of spent fuel. Hello and thanks for joining us on Arirang News. We begin today in the United States, where President Donald Trump delivered a national address just minutes ago as the anniversary of his return to office approaches and as his approval ratings have been sinking recently amid economic concerns and persistent cost of living pressures. For more on this, we have our correspondent Park Ko-nu on the line for us. Ko-nu, what were some of the key takeaways from his speech?
Right, Inji. So one of the biggest keywords for today's speech was mostly related to the economy side. So Trump gave his roughly 20-minute national address from the White House beginning at 9 p.m. local time. And he opened his speech by criticizing former President Joe Biden while praising what he called the achievements of his own administration, the common format Trump uses when speaking publicly.
America, 11 months ago, I inherited a mess. And I'm fixing it. When I took office, inflation was the worst in 48 years, and some would say in the history of our country, which caused prices to be higher than ever before, making life unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans.
Trump claimed that prices are now falling and he is bringing them down very fast, specifically citing the cost of a Thanksgiving turkey that was 33% cheaper this year compared to 2024. He continued attacking Democrats, accusing them of having looted the Treasury. And he added that wages are rising much faster than inflation, calling it a positive development. Trump also claimed he had secured $18 trillion in investment into the U.S., crediting his tariff policies. The president also announced what he called a warrior dividend, promising 1,776 U.S. dollar checks to U.S. service members before Christmas. He also highlighted a crackdown on illegal immigration as a key achievement in the first year of his second term.
Right, and how are Trump's latest approval ratings looking?
So recent polls show Trump's approval ratings are declining. A new Reuters and Ipsos poll released on Tuesday showed that just 33% of U.S. adults approve of how Trump's handling the economy. In a separate poll conducted by PBS News, NPR, and Marist, Trump recorded his lowest ever approval ratings for economic policies ever, including during his first term. Only 36% of Americans said they approve, with many citing concerns over the cost of living. And that contrasts with when Trump returned to office, when he pledged to tackle high prices following post-COVID inflation. The issue is likely to factor into next year's midterm elections, which are widely seen as a measure of public sentiment toward the Trump administration. And that's all I have for you now at this hour. Back to you, Angie.
All right, Kono, thank you for the wrap-up. Do keep us updated. Continuing in the U.S., the Senate approved next year's defense budget bill. The bill includes provisions that restrict the Trump administration from unilaterally reducing the size of U.S. forces Korea below the current level of 28,500. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
The U.S. Senate on Wednesday passed the 2026 Fiscal Year National Defense Authorization Act, approving a defense budget of $901 billion, about $8 billion more than requested by the administration. The bill passed 77-20 and will take effect after President Donald Trump signs it. A key provision bars the use of defense funds to reduce U.S. troops in South Korea below the current level of 28,500 and reaffirms the U.S. nuclear umbrella commitment to Seoul. The funding restriction, which had been absent during the Biden administration, returns under Trump's second term. Analysts say it reflects congressional efforts to prevent potential troop reductions as the administration pushes for greater burden sharing among allies. The bill also restricts funding for the transfer of wartime operational control from the U.S. South Korea Combined Forces Command to a South Korea-led command to prevent the transfer process from deviating from the agreed framework. The restriction can be lifted after 60 days if the defense secretary certifies the transfer aligns with U.S. national security interests and has been coordinated with allies. The Lee Jae-myung government aims to complete the transfer during its term, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has voiced support. The NDAA will cover the U.S. defense budget from October through next September. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
National Security Advisor Ri Sung-nak has met U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright for apparent follow-up talks to the allies' joint fact sheet. Now, their meeting on Wednesday in Washington would have included issues tied to South Korea's civil uranium enrichment and the reprocessing of spent fuel. The leaders of the two countries have earlier agreed upon Seoul building nuclear-powered submarines. The current bilateral nuclear energy pact bans South Korea from using nuclear material for military purposes. We earlier mentioned the case of Australia being granted an exception in acquiring nuclear-powered submarines through the AUKUS Defense Partnership. Pressure is mounting on e-commerce giant Coupang following one of the country's largest personal data breaches. Lawmakers are now demanding answers and accountability from the company's leadership. Our Moon Ye-ryun has more.
South Korea's National Assembly opened a hearing on Wednesday into the massive data breach at e-commerce giant Coupang, which exposed the personal information of millions of users. Lawmakers from the Science, ICT, Broadcasting and Communications Committee questioned newly appointed executives in the absence of founder and chairman Kim Bum-seok and former CEO Park Dae-jun, drawing criticism that senior decision-makers were again avoiding direct accountability. Questions focused on how the breach occurred, the company's data security practices, internal oversight, and who should ultimately bear responsibility. Harold Rogers, the new CEO of US-based Coupang Inc., apologized to Korean customers and addressed criticism over the company's limited response.
The investigation is ongoing. We're working daily, around the clock, with multiple regulators here in Korea. As we learn and confirm the facts, we will be rolling out a responsible compensation plan for our customers.
So far, Coupang has limited its response to basic prevention guidelines and simplified account deletion. Rogers also faced pointed questions over Coupang's revenue structure and criticism that its top leadership was avoiding accountability.
In 2024, Coupang's revenue amounted to 41.29 trillion Korean won, and 90% of that came from South Korea, 36.4 trillion won, 90%. Does it make any sense for witness Kim Bum-seok to not be here while talking about being a global company?
Ahead of the hearing, Kim submitted a written explanation citing overseas residence and global business commitments, while Park resigned just a week earlier. The Assembly's National Policy Committee has since decided to file an official charge against Kim for failing to appear without justifiable reason and pass legislation allowing fines of up to 10% of total revenue for serious data breaches. 문혜련, Arirang News.
On the economic front, consumer price increases in South Korea have been rebounding for the past couple months at 2.4% on year, with the projection for next year at 2.1%. Now, all this as the Korean won continues to weaken further against US dollar, a primary concern for the nation's economy. Our Kim Do-yeon reports.
The Bank of Korea projects consumer prices to increase by 2.1% next year, but highlighted a recent rebound in prices due to exchange rate volatility. Governor Lee Chang-yong stated on Wednesday during an inflation briefing that if the exchange rate continues at its current high level, inflation is likely to rise higher than the current forecast.
Several factors are compounding to drive up recent consumer inflation. Unlike previous years, unfavorable weather has kept agricultural and fishery prices high, while the rising exchange rate has kept oil prices strong.
Taking a closer look at this year's inflation trend, consumer price inflation started the year hovering above the 2% range. Inflation slowed by the summer, hitting a yearly low of 1.7% in August due to temporary factors. However, inflation started creeping up again in the fourth quarter, with prices in both October and November 2.4% higher than the year before. Despite this recent volatility, the central bank is maintaining its baseline forecast for next year at 2.1%. The BOK expects stability because the current economic recovery is led by the IT sector, which tends to have a limited immediate impact on general consumer prices. However, the exchange rate remains a critical variable. The bank's analysis shows that if the $1 rate persists around the 1,471 level, inflation could exceed its forecast and rise to the mid-2% range. Governor Lee also took the opportunity to address the weakness of the Korean won in detail. He clarified that the current situation is not a financial crisis in the traditional sense where banks fail or the nation faces default. However, he admitted that the continued weakness of the won is deeply concerning due to its social impact.
I completely disagree that this is a traditional financial crisis, but in other respects, I would call it a crisis, and I am deeply worried. The current exchange rate has a significant impact on inflation. Furthermore, when rates rise like this, the divide between those who benefit and those who lose becomes extreme.
Governor Lee emphasized that considering this potential for growth polarization, the current exchange rate level is far from reassuring and requires vigilance to prevent social discord. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
South Korea saw a record number of people taking parental leave last year, thanks partly to the recent rise in the birth rate. And it wasn't just moms looking after their children, so were a record number of dads. Our Park Jun-an reports.
South Korea saw a record number of parental leave takers in 2024, surpassing 206,000 for the first time since such data was first recorded in 2010. According to data released by the Ministry of Data and Statistics on Wednesday, the total number of people taking parental leave reached just over 26,000, up 4% from 2023. This rebound follows a slight dip in 2023 amid low birth rates and coincides with a modest increase in the fertility rate from 0.72 to 0.75, the first rise in 9 years. And a notable shift is emerging toward shared parenting. The number of fathers taking parental leave surged 18.3% to over 60,000 fathers, accounting for more than 29% of the total, the highest proportion ever. For the first time, more than 10% of fathers of newborns took parental leave, meaning roughly 1 in 10 eligible fathers of 2024 newborns used leave in the year their child was born. Overall, parental leave usage for newborns last year hit a record 34.7%. However, over 60% of parental leave takers work at large companies with over 300 employees, where usage rates are higher. In small firms with fewer than 5 workers, only 41% of eligible mothers took leave, raising questions about why parents at smaller businesses often make less use of parental leave.
Small businesses are already short-staffed and often cannot find replacement workers. When employees take extended leave, employers still bear wage costs, adding financial pressure. While parental leave supports child-rearing, it also widens the gap between workplaces, and this issue deserves serious discussion.
The general trend of more fathers taking parental leave reflects the government's efforts to combat low birth rates by encouraging paternal involvement in childcare, marking progress toward more balanced family responsibilities. 박준환, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you everything you need to know from around the globe. Starting in Venezuela, where the government on Tuesday denounced President Donald Trump's order for what he called a, quote, total and complete blockade of sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving the country. Venezuela described Trump's orders as, quote, warmongering threats. Trump said his administration had designated President Nicolas Maduro's government as a foreign terrorist organization and accused it of drug smuggling and human trafficking. Trump's order followed last week's U.S. seizure of a Venezuelan oil tanker off the country's coast. Caracas accused Washington of trying to steal its oil resources as the United States builds up its naval presence near Venezuela. A Los Angeles court on Wednesday heard the first appearance of Nick Reiner, charged with murdering his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Singer Reiner. The 32-year-old wearing a suicide prevention jacket did not enter a plea. The judge postponed his arraignment until January 7th at his attorney's request, holding him without bail. Prosecutors charged Reiner with 2 counts of first-degree murder and added special circumstances of multiple murders and an allegation he used a knife. Rob Reiner and his wife were found dead from apparent stab wounds in their Los Angeles home, and police arrested Nick Reiner hours later nearby. In a statement, his siblings Jake and Romy said they are in, quote, unimaginable pain and asked for privacy and restraint. The UK government on Wednesday gave Roman Abramovich 90 days to transfer $3.3 billion from the sale of Chelsea Football Club to Ukrainian war victims or face court action. The funds remain frozen under UK sanctions. London says Abramovich agreed in 2022 to donate the money to Ukraine and warned that it won't allow these funds to sit unused while victims suffer. Researchers tracking wild polar bears in northern Canada have captured rare footage of a mother bear adopting a cub that is not her own. Scientists observed the 5-year-old bear during the annual migration along western Hudson Bay near Churchill, Manitoba, with 2 cubs, including one without a tag. Researchers say it's only the 13th known adoption case out of 4,600 bears studied over nearly 5 decades in the area. The cubs appear healthy and are expected to stay with the mother until they are about 2.5 years old. 지지현, Arirang News.
We had a quick taste of winter this morning with temperatures briefly dipping below freezing. But highs will rise similar to yesterday under bright skies this afternoon. And with the milder than average temperatures we've had this winter so far, it doesn't really feel like the end of the year here in Korea. Overnight cold wind blew away the dust in the air, so we are expecting much improved air quality nationwide. Highs in Seoul will be getting up to 7 degrees, Daegu, Gwangju both topping out at 11 degrees. And many of the southern provinces will notice temperature swings of more than 15 degrees between the morning and the afternoon. Make sure to layer up. Temperatures stay on the much warmer side through Saturday, then rain on the same day will bring down the temperatures on Sunday. Things will turn colder, but not to a freezing level through the end of the year.
Now that's all we have for today's noon edition of Arirang News. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned.
Korea, a globally recognized sports powerhouse. Behind the dazzling achievements, there's always an invisible force at work. With sophisticated materials, cutting-edge equipment, and innovative technological solutions, SMEs in the K-sports industry play a vital role in bolstering Korea's status as a sports powerhouse. By integrating AI technology, they unlock athletes' potential and enhance performance, elevating the sports environment to the next level and opening new markets in the sports industry. Their innovative technology and bold challenges drive the growth of Korea's sports industry, creating a better world through sports. The innovation of these SMEs never stops. A systematic partnership support program is implemented to discover promising sports SMEs, provide technical validation and R&D support to enhance competitiveness, and strengthen the foundation for overseas expansion. At Tokyo Sportech 2025, the technological prowess of Korean companies was recognized. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism, and the Korea Sports Promotion Foundation supported K-sports companies with product promotion and business consultations with global buyers, demonstrating product quality and market potential, and confirming the possibility of expanding into the global market.
저희는 ICT 강국으로서 그 바이어나 사용자들한테 신기술을 접목한 생활 스포츠 기회를 실질적으로 확대할 수 있는 그 기회를 제공하는 데 많은 도움이 될 수 있으리라고 확신을 합니다.
이제 스포츠도 K죠. K 스포츠는 이겁니다.
The joy for all, created by the power of K-sports. Experience the future of the new sports industry through the innovation and technology of the Korean sports industry.